Hi everyone, welcome to this month's Q&A video. It's where I take the previous 5 videos, answer some of the questions in the comment section, and MB did get these together for me, and at this point I haven't looked at one of them, which probably isn't the best idea, but I'll see how it goes here. As you can see, I'm out here in my little shed, and I have an autumn leaves candle burning beside me here. I wanted to show you guys my dried flowers that were hanging from my drying rack. You may see that in the video above me here. I had dried some herbs and then also hydrangeas. I do love how they dried. Like, the color is so beautiful and the lavender smells divine. I love the smell of lavender. And then of course in here with the autumn leaves candle burning, it just smells really good right now. We do still have some fall candles available on the Etsy shop. I've mentioned this before, but they probably won't be on for too much longer. We usually discontinue them kind of the beginning of November, maybe mid-November. So make sure to head on over to my shop if you're still needing some great smelling fall candles. And before getting into the questions, I have something I need to address, something that really bugs me. I almost made a separate video on this last week, and then I thought I'll just wait until this week when I film this Q&A, but I am having issues in my comment section where there's people or someone posing as me and trying to get you guys to click onto their links. I actually know so little about it. I just know that just never click on any links like that don't look right. And I really want you guys to know that I would never reach out through a comment section letting you know that you won something, or I'm not even sure what all they're saying, but it's just not something I would do. So if you ever get a comment like that or a message, just don't answer, don't acknowledge it. I'm trying to block them. Like, I'm able to block some of them, but they come so fast, like I don't catch them all. Felt so bad. We did get some messages through Etsy, you know, people asking if they, you know, if this is legit, and it's not. Like, again, I'd never reach out through a comment section like that. I'm just always so disappointed. I mean, I know there's so much of that stuff going on out there, but just always disappointing to me how someone would even have the time to do that, and how do they sleep at night? Like, seriously, don't get me started on that. But again, just know that it's not me, and you can even tell by how the comments are written. Like, the grammar isn't good. I feel so bad that this is happening. I feel it's kind of through me, but yet it's totally out of my control. There's nothing I can do about it. I do try to report these things, but it doesn't really help. Like, I imagine they probably get all kinds of reports like that. Getting into the questions now. The first questions are from last month's Q&A video. Christy Lynn saying, "I'm thrilled Twinkle resurrected. Is it possible to keep him more inside more as he ages? He may get used to it. If not, maybe ring the tuna can at dusk to get him inside by dark. At night is when the bad things happen." Yes, I agree. And it's kind of funny you mentioned the tuna can. Every evening I feed my kitties, like, they get canned cat food once a day, and it's in the evening, and they always know exactly what time that is to be. Like, their faces appear in the back door or up the basement steps. It's just kind of funny how that works, and they're actually really smart. Like, they wait until, you know, patiently until I have their little food, you know, dished out in their little dishes, and then I walk over to the steps, like the basement steps, and Pebbles goes 3 steps down, like that's her little station, and then Twinkle is on the top step. Like, I feed them in the same spot every night. I see I'm fading out already. I knew this would happen today with, we have some clouds and sun going on out there. But it is really cute how they know exactly where to be or where to go to get their food. And then I close the basement door. We don't have them upstairs during the night. And they have a little cat door in the basement, so they are able to go outside. So I guess to answer your question, I just don't like the idea of penning my kitties inside. Like, they love the outside too, but yet I know it is kind of dangerous, especially during the night. Pebbles I'm not worried about. She does not venture far, but Twinkle is the one that roams about, and I'm always, yeah, I just hope he returns. Change of plans, guys. I guess we're filming in here now. My lighting just wasn't cooperating today. I wasn't in the mood to deal with it, so decided I'm better off in here. Plus I have some bread going. That way I won't forget about it if I'm in here. Getting back to the Twinkle subject, as you can see, he's beside me here, sound asleep. And I do always appreciate people caring. Thank you for that. Like you mentioned here, you're thrilled that Twinkle resurrected. She's talking about the fact that he had disappeared for us for a couple of days. We actually thought we had lost him. And then when finally he emerged, he had a gash in his neck and he looked a little beaten up. Not sure what was going on, but imagine he probably got into a fight of some kind. And you know, cats, if they are hurt, they don't want to see anyone, including us. So he may even have been around here and we just didn't see him. Like if he was in pain, he just didn't want to be seen, I guess. He's done that before, but never for that long. The next question here is, I'm thinking of painting the floor in my powder room, which is currently small ceramic tiles. It's a heavily used powder room, so I'm curious how your bathroom floor has held up since you painted it. Honestly, our floor is doing super. One of these times I'll give you guys an update on some of these things that I've been redoing over the past years and kind of show you how things are doing. But as far as the bathroom floor, I'm not sure that it has come off anywhere, like the paint. I don't think it has, like that I've seen. But I do want to mention our flooring was a vinyl. It wasn't ceramic. So I'd be a little scared, I think, to put it on ceramic tile, honestly, if it's a glossy finish especially. But ours was kind of that peel and stick. My parents had actually put it in, years ago, separate squares, but the material was vinyl versus, ceramic. Although if I was thinking of redoing it anyway, and I think it would save me a couple of years if I'm not quite ready to, spend the money on new, I would probably try it. I mean, you really have nothing to lose if you're going to replace it anyway. That was my thought when I did ours. I thought, we want to replace it anyway. It wasn't very nice anymore. It had discolored. And now we like it so well, like I'm not thinking of replacing it at all. So it definitely saved us a bunch of money by painting it. Deanna Ladd says, do you have a link for the fireplace? I can share one down below in the description box. I often miss sharing those links. I know I sometimes even say I will and then I don't. But she's talking about the fireplace inserts in the cottages. I had gotten those off of Wayfair. Vicki Timmerman says, who will tend to the plants in the cottages? The cleaners are actually going to do that, and we're really blessed to have some super cleaners to help us out there. I imagine we'll probably end up cleaning some too, like myself, and my mom said she could help, and then MB, of course. John's niece, Kara, is actually doing the cleaning for us, and we're just so blessed to have her. She does an amazing job. But she agreed to water the plants for me, and she may even end up doing some outside work come summer. We're not quite sure, but she really enjoys gardening, so I thought that would be a good fit for her if she'd want some extra hours with that. And the bottom comment from that video is, gross. Brand new bedding, towels, undergarments, t-shirts, PJs, etc. all have to be washed before use. I agree with you there. I know I had washed some, and I had shown in my video how I was washing the new bedding, and I had gotten a few comments on, why I'm washing new bedding, like it wouldn't be necessary, but it probably wouldn't be, as far as it's probably not really bad for you, but for me it's just, I don't like the smell of new things, and I always think, well, somebody's hands put that in there, like I'd rather, wash those germs off, I guess, but then again, I'm kind of a germophobic, so I lean more towards going that route, of course. The next questions are from the furniture makeover video, and the first one here is Kimberly asking, would you consider doing a furniture store tour for your area? I'm sure it would be interesting to see some of the lesser known places as well. I have really thought about doing a video again on some of the favorite stores that I like here in our area. I know you guys kind of like to see that. A lot of the Amish stores especially, they may not have the means to advertise, and I think it's always neat to give them a shout out. Some awesome stores out there, but that is a good idea, and we do have a lot of furniture stores. I'll keep that in mind. Benny says, do you think people will stay at the cottages during the harsh winter? I've never been anywhere with so much cold and snow. Some winters we don't even get a lot of snow, but it's often kind of cold and damp here in our area, and honestly it's not the nicest place to be in Ohio during the winter unless it snows. Like, I think it's really pretty when it snows, but to answer your question about having people at the cottages, it really slows down during the winter season, the way I understand. And I can tell just being out on the road that it slows down too. But with, rentals, it does definitely slow down. Probably still have weekend guests often, but maybe not during the week as much. Diane says, have you ever had any accidents while using power tools? I haven't had any major accidents ever, knock on wood as I say that, because it can always happen. Like, I don't want to go bragging and boasting and saying, nothing's ever going to happen. I try to be really careful. Like, I'm actually scared of some of those saws, and I just know, if they can cut through a piece of hard wood, like what they could do to my finger. That's always what I think. But as far as accidents, I think probably the worst one that comes to mind was the one time, I had mentioned this before, I was drilling a hole through metal, and I should have been wearing safety glasses, and I wasn't, and a little piece of metal, tiny piece, flew out into my eye, and it hurt so much. Like, I ran inside and put a cold washcloth on my eye and had to lay down for a while, and I'm not sure. I think I probably got it out. I tried to use water to, wash it out before I, even did the rag thing, but it definitely really hurt. Like it hurt much worse than it actually looked, or I don't think I even could see anything, but it was definitely something stuck in my eyeball, which sounds really gross, but it all turned out okay then in the end. But at the time I thought, will I end up going into the emergency room? And then another time that comes to mind is I was using my air nailer, and I was holding with my left hand 2 pieces of wood together, had the nailer in my right hand, and my nail ended up hitting a knot in the wood, which you really have to watch for that if you ever use air tools like that or nailers. The nail will sometimes come out the side if it hits like a knot or something that's so hard that it can't go on, down. It'll just go sideways. That's what happened, and right into my thumb, like in the one end and out the other. So I had to run to the sink and pull that out, and won't go into details there. But as far as power tool accidents, that's kind of the only ones that come to mind. So hopefully it won't get worse than that. Leanne says, "Can you tell me on the coffee bar, did you seal the wallpaper on top with something?" I did not. I did not seal. I normally don't do that with wallpaper. I think it should be okay. I guess I can always replace it if it doesn't stay nice. The next question here is, I was wondering if your husband was ever nervous with you using the tools. You are a pro now, but there must have been a time when you were inexperienced. I don't consider myself a pro, but thank you for that. And then as far as him being nervous, yeah, I think there was a time when he was just a bit, like he's really good with just kind of letting me go, and he doesn't say much. Like he'll kind of joke about it. He did, I know at the time when I started using, I think the skill saw or the circular saw was kind of the first tool that I used. He kind of joked about it, that he thought he'd probably get a call sometime at work that I'm have some of my fingers missing. Thankfully that never happened, and I again hope it will never. The next question here is, do you ever have problems using the anti-Sloan clear wax on chair seats? It being sticky or absorbing blue jean dyes? Just curious. I've only used it in vertical components, not seats. I've never had issues with it. I have used it on seats before. I never noticed anything. I always think anti-Sloan clear wax really dries nice, hard and smooth and not sticky. But again, depending on what surface you'd put it on, who knows, things can always happen. But so far for me, it hasn't. Diana says, they're all pretty. Thank you. It took you only 20 minutes to do them all. How long did it actually take you to do all the pieces? I guess I should have timed myself. I often get asked that question, but definitely more than the 20-minute video, of course. And sometimes I even stretch videos over several days, just, not working on them all the time, but just when I have time. And here I'd even have to think what I was doing. It is really quick though with spray painting. I had done a in real time piece of furniture earlier, or late summer I think. If you want to check that out to kind of see how long it actually takes to spray paint. It's amazing how much quicker it is than with a brush. And again, not sure how long it actually took me, in this video you're talking about, but I would say, just thinking of the different pieces of furniture I had done, surely in a half a day I would have been able to do those, I think, if I wouldn't have had any interruptions. DH says, I have a question. Are the cottages going to be rented out to family and friends within your church community only, or public as well? The reason I'm asking is I noticed your lovely sign, "Give us this day our daily bread," a lovely quote. I had rented a Verbo a few years back and had to remove Buddha figurines from our bedroom and hide them in the closet, return them back upon departure, and I was wondering if decor for renting out one's Verbo should be neutral with regard to faith and beliefs. As a Christian, I was not comfortable with the Buddha figurines beside my bed, so I was wondering if renters would be offended by your signs that quote from the Bible, even though I love it, but I share your beliefs and values, so it would be fine with me. Just wondering what your plan is. Thanks. That is a good question. Honestly, I never even thought of that. Like, to me, God has been such a big part in those cottages. Like, I would never just not put something in there. I don't think I'd go extra with it either at the same time. Like, I feel, there's an extreme either way, I think. But if I can somehow, incorporate that into the cottage and share it with people, maybe it'll be a help to someone. Like, I couldn't live with myself if I wouldn't do that. But I guess to answer your question, no, these cottages are totally rented out public. They're only on Airbnb website at this point. And I am not changing anything as far as I know, unless I actually decide to, change some decor with the seasons. Carla says, I read in our local paper about a White Cottage Company store coming here. I'm in the Newark, Ohio area and was curious if that's your store. No, it is not. I'm curious if there's another White Cottage company out there. Could easily be. Gotta say, it's something I've been thinking about, how fun it would be to actually have a store, you know, here in town like Berlin or Walnut Creek. Probably wouldn't go to Newark though to have it, but interesting. I'll have to check that out. And the bottom comment from that video is Sharon saying, question, why are you always promoting online? I buy absolutely nothing online, especially since you claim to be a small business, that a company has destroyed small businesses everywhere. Are you being sponsored by them? I'm not quite sure what you're saying here. As far as being sponsored by them, I'm not being sponsored by a company. Like White Cottage Company is my own company. And if I do sponsorships, which every now and then I will, I don't think I did in this video though, it's something where I, like a product that I love to use and I want to share it with people and tell them how good it is or whatever. I wouldn't just have any little sponsorship on here. I've always told myself I'd never do that. And then as far as, again, promoting my own Etsy shop products, I'm probably going to do that. That's probably one of my favorite things still, is just creating products and selling them online and just getting them into people's homes, just to make them pretty, hopefully. Again, not really, you know, getting the question here. I guess I shouldn't even have read it if I don't really get it. The next questions are from the cottage tours video, and Marilyn C says, I do have a question. Was there ever a reason that the laundry area did not have any type of doors so the washer and dryer were not in view? Just thinking about the noise factor, maybe some bifold doors would have worked. We actually were going to go with bifold doors. We even had them ordered and everything. And then once we started, you know, painting that little space there and just had the washer and dryer in there, put the little cupboards above, we thought it actually kind of looked okay without. And bifold doors, or some of them I know, can cause issues, like they slide off the track and just a hassle, maybe kind of in the way there with the hallway. So we just opted to go without. We can always add them later if we decide to, but for now, probably no doors. The next comment here is Diana saying, love them both, but I think Apple Blossom is my favorite because of the colors. So exciting. Hope to get a chance to book ASAP. How close are the cottages to shopping all the great shops? Congratulations. Well, thank you for that kind message, and thank you for all of your kind messages. I don't think I've had a video recently that has gotten so many comments and just kind words and congratulations, and thank you for that. That just means a lot. It does not go unnoticed. As far as the cottages being close to shopping areas, yes, they are only probably about 10-15 minutes from Berlin and a couple of minutes from Mount Hope, and probably again 10 or 15 from Millersburg. Not really good with some of those directions and how long it takes to actually drive there. It probably depends on the traffic too, but definitely in the center of a lot of great shopping areas. I mean, not just next door to them, but within easy driving distance, and then also great restaurants too. Willrose Place says, may I ask how much square footages they are? They measure, like the overall measurement of each cottage is 24 by 36, and I did have to Google that. I'm not really good with figuring out square footage just off the top of my head, but I believe that's around 864 square feet. So they're not very big, but just a nice cozy size, I think. Tina says, how do we find them on Airbnb? What city or name do we use to look up? I actually have the links down below in the description box for both of the cottages, but if you don't use the links, which you don't have to, you can just go on Airbnb and put in Millersburg, Ohio, and that should bring them up. And with the Airbnb platform, if you have a new listing, which these cottages would still be fairly new listings, they should come up kind of first, maybe not first, but kind of more towards the top of the search engine at this point. Alexandra Stay at Home says, I was contacted and told that I won a prize. I don't remember you saying anything about this, so I'm just letting you know in case it's a scam. Guess we talked about that earlier. Definitely a scam. Peggy says, I am wondering though about having a clear door for the bathroom. I'd be nervous that someone would be watching me undress, using the toilet, bathing, etc. Maybe using a curtain on the inside so no one would see the person using the bathroom. Just a thought. There is a bathroom door there. I'm not sure, maybe that didn't really show up in the video, but the shower door is in the bathroom. Like, it's not, like the shower room is in the bathroom, so you're able to close a door and have privacy. Yeah, that would be really important. I guess I really could have stayed in my shed with the lighting that we have now, right? Definitely comes and goes, but just the way it is, I guess. Chatty Cathy says, we had Amish build our house. I was surprised you didn't. We did have a lot of Amish workers. We just, the crews that we hired, or JDM structures, build the initial, like the shell part of our cottages. They had some Amish workers, and with any work crews in the area, you have mixed, you have some of each, so it's just whatever is on that crew, I guess. I was looking for the bottom comment here, but I guess it was the one that mentioned being scammed. The next questions are from the Fall Food Ideas video. Jane Brown says, do you get to drive a car of your choice, or does your dad say who drives what? Who gets to clean them after the cruise? I had a 1972 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme with a 425 under the hood. Sounds nice. Then children came along and we sold it for a station wagon. She was beautiful too. I bet she was, and you probably wish you had her now. And I notice, Jane, that you comment often in my videos, always sweet comments. Thank you for that. I'm glad MB stuck this one in here. As far as who gets to drive what, some of us have our own cars, like I have my own car actually, and then the ones that are Dad's cars, he always lets us pick. Like we always try to get him to tell us what he wants to drive, but he says he doesn't mind which one he drives. So often, the kids, or like in this case when we went on our cruise, my youngest son drove the Le Mans, the Pontiac Le Mans, that was behind me, and him and his girlfriend were in there. And but yeah, mostly Dad says, just we get to pick. And then who gets to clean them? Dad is always cleaning cars, like he'll clean his own cars, of course, and it's a lot of fun. It's just it's a fun hobby to have, definitely. I brought one of my lights in to get a little more lighting in here, so if it looks different, that's why. Diane says, I've always wondered, is apple butter the same as applesauce? No, it's not. Applesauce, basically, or my applesauce, consists of only apples. Like, I don't add anything else. And then apple butter gets different seasonings, and you cook it for a couple of hours, and you add some sugar. And the bottom comment from that video is Sandra Conrad saying, Millersburg, Ohio, not New York City. Your fees are ridiculous. I knew I'd probably get some comments like this, but first of all, we're not good with pricing, and that is why we hired property managers to take care of our cottages for us, and they just kind of went by what other people are charging in the area for what it is, which we're fine with that, just whatever they came up with. In fact, we even went a little bit lower than what was suggested, but I agree it is pretty high price. But places are anymore, like if you stay even just in a motel overnight, the prices are a lot higher than they were, which everything has gone up. We all know that, right? And then as far as Millersburg, not New York City, I think a lot of people don't know, but our area is high tourist area. Like we get a lot of tourists during the summertime especially, and even some during the winter time. So it is definitely more in demand, some of these cottages and cabins and rental. Like people like to, if they come in the area, to stay in a kind of a unique place versus maybe a motel, or some people do. So I guess that's why, yeah, that kind of explains that. The last questions are from the Fall Tablescape video. Dawn is asking, will you be decorating the cottages for Christmas? I was so impressed with John's form that he made to keep the ladders consistent. A genius. I'll pass that on to him. I was impressed too. And then as far as decorating the cottages for Christmas, probably not much, but maybe just a little bit. I think a little tree by the fireplace would look pretty. Maybe a touch here and there. The next question here is Nancy Evans. I wondered if you would be willing to share the name of the light green paint on the bottom cabinets in Apple Blossom Cottage. Yes, I will try to find that name. Recently someone else asked that, and I know it was something sage. I'm pretty sure it was a Sherwin-Williams color, I think. And I do need to find that name because it is the prettiest color of green. Like, to me, it was kind of scary to paint bottom cabinets green. Like, it's so permanent. What if you get tired of it? But it is just that perfect shade of green. I don't think I'd ever get tired of it. And I thought I'd want to share that with you if you're looking for something like that for yourself. Just know that it's a really pretty color. Charlotte says, may I ask the name of your beautiful white marigold? It's so stunning. I'll try to find that name. I'm not sure. Like, I can't remember what it was called when I planted it in my herb garden along the front, but they are really pretty. They almost look like small hydrangea blooms, or maybe snowball bush flowers. Teresa asks, do you have a favorite scripture? Mine is Micah 6:8. I also like Micah 6:8. In fact, I did a scroll, I think it was years ago, of that scripture, and I always thought eventually I'd want to do a more like a permanent sign for the Etsy shop of that scripture. I've got to keep that in mind. It kind of reminds me, but I have a lot of scriptures I like. Trying to think what comes to mind. There's a few in Philippians that I like. Philippians, is it 4:13, I think, is I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And then Philippians 4:6 and 7 is the one about not being anxious about anything. It kind of varies like in what I'm going through sometimes in my life. And, I kind of switch my scriptures that I like to stay in tune with, I guess. But and of course, John 3:16, we all like that scripture, right? That kind of says it all. Ruth says, would you please share with me the product that you use to seal your wood countertops? Sure, I used a polyacrylic by Minwax. I put that down first, and then after that was dry, I applied Anti-Sloan Clear Wax just for an extra protection, and that has seemed to hold out really well. Every now and then, I think I've done it once where I reapplied the Anti-Sloan Clear Wax. So it's something that should probably be applied every now and then because it does get a lot of wear and tear, that countertop. And the bottom comment from that video is Deborah saying, were you hacked? I got several notifications to text you on Telegram. It even came to my email. Yeah, I'm just so sick of hearing about that. I apologize. It's, like I said, out of my control. There's really nothing I can do, but I feel bad that it's kind of through me here. I don't think, well, I wasn't hacked, like my account wasn't hacked, but people of course are able to take a screenshot or take my profile picture and then create, the White Cottage Company text and just make it look exactly like maybe on YouTube or Instagram or wherever, and just pretend to be me. It's, very frustrating. I feel people like that are just losers, basically. They have nothing else to do and they just try to live off of, using other people's reputation, and they're just too lazy to work. I could go on and on, but I'll stop now. But just, ignore anything like that. I can't say that enough. I would never reach out to anyone in that way. So that's it for today's Q&A. Thanks for hanging out with me and Twinkle here, sound asleep again beside me. As always, I hope your day is going great, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.